after going through the rabbit hole of Bitcoin. And you know that one thing is when you go down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, you come up with a whole lot of data, right? A whole lot of information, right? So going down the rabbit hole and having all this information in my head, and you know, when I talk about it to people, it doesn't relate, you know, but I have these informations in my head that people need to know about, right? So thinking about that, having that thought, the next thing that came to mind is that what are the opportunities, you know, what are the low-hanging fruits, right? And I did my research, you know, about Bitcoin in local language, you know, in Nigeria, which is in Pidgin. And I saw that there is nobody actually doing something like that, you know. We have the crypto and Web3, you know, guys that does what they do in Pidgin, right? But we don't have Bitcoin itself, you know, and the fact that Pidgin English is a language that cuts across every tribe, every ethnic, every religion in Nigeria, everybody speaks Pidgin. You know, anybody that you see that cannot speak Pidgin fluently understands it, right? They might not be able to speak it, but when you say it to them, they understand what it is. So seeing all those loopholes, I decided that, you know, the best way to give value and also put the information in my head out there is to start teaching Bitcoin.
Hello, this is the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our guest today is Kester Eji Keme. Kester is a force in the Bitcoin space, an entrepreneur, project manager, content writer, and Spaces host who's been on the frontiers of building circular economies in Nigeria. As a key builder with Bitcoin Anambra and Bitcoin Pidgin, he's not just talking about financial sovereignty, he is making it happen. One merchant adoption, one community summit, and one grassroots education session at a time. From rubbing shoulders at the Africa Bitcoin Conference in Mauritius to celebrating African Bitcoiner of the Year, Kester journey is a masterclass in turning conviction into action. Today, we will talk about his projects and how Bitcoin is empowering communities in his countries. Kester, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Fernando. It's a pleasure for me to be here to talk about Bitcoin in Nigeria and also what I do. You know, so it's a pleasure for me to be. I can't wait to get started.
Excellent. It's a pleasure for me to host you here. I know that you just come from the conference in Mauritius, but let me ask the first question. The first question that I do to everyone is, how were you orange peel?
Well, I came to know about Bitcoin, right? So I think I'll have to talk about my story. Yeah, I came to know about Bitcoin in 2016 when I was in college. Then my classmate was viewing ads, you know, to get Bitcoin. But the fact that you need to pay $100 and then $100 was like 30 something naira, I think 32,000 naira, right? But I didn't have 32,000 naira to be able to get like $100 so I can watch ads and get some sats. That was my first time of knowing what Bitcoin is. But I did not take it serious at all. You know, after that, I just continued doing what I was doing. Then I started getting interest into the tech ecosystem, right? Then I knew about Bitcoin, you know, in coronavirus time, you know, when everywhere was locked down, the price of Bitcoin tanked. And that was everywhere on the news. So I came to hear about this Bitcoin of a thing again. Then I now researched about it. That was how I researched about it and I got to know what it is. But you know, when you know about Bitcoin, when it gets boring, you want to explore, you know. So I explored, I went into the shitcoin ecosystem, you know. I did a little bit of crypto. I worked for a crypto community, the biggest crypto community in Africa back then. I was their project manager, but I wasn't shilling any coin. You know, I was just there on the administrative side, you know, gathering up experience and working with a very big community, right? Then the event of Luna happened. So, when you get to that stage and you feel like you've known everything, right? So I saw Luna crashing. Instead of me to like do my research to know what was happening, I was like, wow, all I was thinking about is how I could make money off of its crash, right? And Luna was a blue chip token then, right? A very big token at UST. So as it was tanking, I was longing it, right? I was longing it, I was buying.
Yes.
Before I could know what was happening, I've lost more than half of my money, right? So when I now understood what happened and I did a big research into the Luna and UST crash, and I was like, these people are just playing poker with our money, right? Like these guys just played poker with my money. So that event in itself now brought me back to Bitcoin. I now like went down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, right? And I would say this book of Sefe Dynamos, the Bitcoin Standard, was what I listened to. So it's not like anybody orange pilled me. I got orange pilled by going through the experience from the other end of the world, right? So going down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, listening to podcasts, right? Listening to spaces, reading Bitcoin books, I came to understand that like this is the right place for me to be, because at the end of the day, even when I was in the crypto world, I wasn't confident in shilling any token because I know what the game is, guys, So, but understanding what Bitcoin is, I got to see that like this is the real deal. Like this is just the future, And the earlier I position myself, right, the better for me. So since then, the rest has been history.
Excellent. Yes, I think that most of us have this journey going through the shitcoin world, and then when we lose money, we study Bitcoin and we learn Bitcoin the hard way. By the way, I also lost money in the Luna scam. So it is what it is. It's the price that you have to pay for
Yeah.
education. Some people
Yes.
pay the price in the university. We pay the price in the shitcoins, and we end up learning Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. That's how my experience was. But I don't blame anyone for me going through all those experiences, right? Because I was the one that made the call, right? And it led me to doing more research and getting to understand what Bitcoin is, right? And that is the best orange pill, you can get.
Yes, totally agree on that. The best orange peel that you can get, and I agree with you that the book of Saving is an eye opener book.
Like,
And I
you
also agree
know,
with you with yes,
the sweetest thing about the book is that I think maybe from chapter 1 to chapter 5 or to chapter 4, he did not even mention Bitcoin at all. What he did was to talk about the problems, you know, the problems we were going through. So before you get to where he was talking about Bitcoin, you just see it that this is the solution of everything I just read. You understand?
yeah. That's I
So
think that yeah, this is the best way to orange peel a person because if you start talking to a person who never they don't know the problem, they don't know Bitcoin, and you start talking about Bitcoin, about 21 million coins, the self custody, there is no an emission in the so people they don't get it. But if you first start
exactly.
talking about how the system is destroyed, how money is broken, and all these things, and then they discover Bitcoin. I had the yesterday I interviewed an Argentinian economist, and she's a journalist as well on the television. And she started doing, would you invest in something that has this? No. Something that has this? No. Something that has this? No. Oh, you know what is this? The US dollar. So,
Yeah,
and most the
exactly.
Argentinians put the money in the US dollar. So,
Yes,
so
dollar.
that's the way to orange pill the people. And talking about your journey, I assume that after you got hooked and you went into the rabbit hole and become a Bitcoin maxi, you started this project. So can you talk me a little bit about what are your projects? I have the list here. Bitcoin Anambra and Bitcoin Pidgin.
Yeah, so I started Bitcoin Pidgin before Bitcoin Anambra. So what happened was that, after going through the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and you know that one thing is when you go down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, you come up with a whole lot of data, right? A whole lot of information, right? So going down the rabbit hole and having all this information in my head, and when I talk about it to people, it doesn't relate, but I have these informations in my head that people need to know about, right? So thinking about that, having that thought, the next thing that came to mind is that what are the opportunities, what are the low hanging fruits, right? And I did my research, about Bitcoin in local language, in Nigeria, which is in Pidgin. And I saw that there is nobody actually doing something like that. We have the crypto and Web3, guys that does what they do in Pidgin, right? But we don't have Bitcoin itself, and the fact that Pidgin English is a language that cuts across every tribe, every ethnic, every religion in Nigeria. Everybody speaks Pidgin, you know. Anybody that you see that cannot speak Pidgin fluently understand it, right? They might not be able to speak it, but when you say it to them, they understand what it is. So, seeing all those loopholes, I decided that, the best way to give value and also put the information in my head out there is to start teaching Bitcoin in Pidgin, right? So I started Bitcoin Pidgin, I put it on Geyser, and I got some donations from Bitcoiners that I don't even know, right? And the funniest thing is they were even anonymous. They don't even want me to know who they are, right? So seeing all that and the support I get from people that don't even know me, you understand? But the fact that I am doing something that promotes the adoption of Bitcoin, I got that support. And that has been able to help us scale from where we started. I started alone and I did that for almost 1 year, and I got overwhelmed. I wouldn't say otherwise, right? But we've been able to have like team of 4 people now. We have graphic designer, we have people that are on the streets that are doing the vlog, right? So that's how I started Bitcoin Pidgin. And Bitcoin Anambra, I started Bitcoin Anambra in 2024. That's last year, right? And that was when I, because I stay in Anambra State, right, in Nigeria. I know you might not be familiar with Anambra State. Most people are familiar with Lagos and Abuja, but Anambra State is one of the 36 states in Nigeria. And
Nice. I know.
go ahead.
Yes. No. I know. I know some places of Nigeria by name, because I am a big fan of the geography, and also many times Argentina played against Nigeria
Yeah.
in the World Cup. And when I
Yeah.
was a teenager, there was a funny anecdote that I have a connection with Nigeria, because when I was a teenager, I was studying English. I was around 15 or 16 years old. And I remember I was walking with my parents around the capital city of Argentina. And there were a group of guys, like of course they look Nigerian. They were black, and they were trying to ask people, and nobody was speaking in English. And I was a young guy, 16. I started speaking in English with them, and they were businessmen that worked in the oil business, and they took a photo together with the Nigerian guys, my parents, and the guy sent me the photo with in the mail. At that time was the 90s. There was
Yeah.
no email or something,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
sent me the
yeah,
photo through email to mail, and I was right, and I used to reply, and we start doing like pen pals. Like I
yeah,
write a letter to him, he wrote back to me, and he was living in a city called Owerri, can say, and
yeah.
the state was Iwo or Iwo,
Imo,
Iowa
Imo,
State,
Imo State.
Iwo, Iwo,
Yeah,
Imo.
Imo State. Yeah.
So I remember that's why I know
Yeah.
some states from Nigeria,
Yeah.
but don't know about the Anambra.
The
So
Anam.
in Anambra, what you are doing, a circular economy.
Yes, we are doing a circular economy in Anambra State. What we do basically is to speak to business owners, merchants, local shops in Anambra State, Oka precisely, to be able to accept Bitcoin as payment for their goods and services. There's this saying that Bitcoin is for everybody, but it's not for anyone, right? And what that means is that regardless of the fact that Bitcoin is a store of value, it is also money. If you look at the the white paper of Bitcoin, the heading literally said a peer-to-peer electronic cash. Like it did not say gold, it said cash, electronic cash. So coming to, I after studying Bitcoin Pidgin and scaled it to where I now have people that are handling some certain responsibilities for me, it made me be able to like think and also think about how I can also be of value to my home state, right? And, being someone that knows Bitcoin and understands it, I believe that it's normal for me to start a secular economy that is focused on my state, especially because I am a patriotic person, right? And I believe that charity begins at home, right? If all Bitcoiners, should start a secular economy in their home state, we'll get the adoption we are looking for, right? So that is the
Yes.
drive and what made me start the secular economy.
And how many people in Nigeria speak Pidgin?
According to the data I have, we have more than 72 million people speaking Pidgin.
So
And
most of
aside
the
from that,
almost like around 70 around
the thing
70% of the population.
you can say that. So another thing is it's not only Nigerians that speak Pidgin. Ghanaians speak Pidgin, Sierra Leone speaks Pidgin, Togo speaks Pidgin, even though their language is French. Some West African countries also speaks Pidgin. But because of the fact that, Nigeria, we have the numbers, we have the population, right? So that is about a whole lot of people speak Pidgin. 72 million, according to my research.
Do you think that the teaching in their own language is better than, because probably they speak Pidgin, but also they speak English.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
teaching in their own language, I think it's better to drive the message. Your language is English or Pidgin, your mother language?
My mother language is Igbo.
Igbo.
Yeah, my mother language is Igbo. But I also speak English and I speak Pidgin and I also speak another Nigerian language, Yoruba. So if I'm to count it, I speak 4 languages, right? But
Interesting.
Pidgin is the most popular language in Nigeria. Let me just put it like that because everybody across every state, every ethnic group, every tribe speaks Pidgin. But the thing is some parts speaks it more than some parts, right? But it's a general something.
Yes, and how did you start it? You started translating books or translating something that you find online, creating your own content.
Yeah, we started by creating our own content. So when we started Bitcoin Pigeon, first thing we did was to invite Nigerian Bitcoiners that speaks Pidgin, right? And have a space with them. have them, ask them strategic questions about the information we want to get from them. But we do that specifically in Pidgin, right? I ask them a question in Pidgin and they respond it in Pidgin. So one thing I've understood from having spaces with Nigerian Bitcoiners, right? And kudos to all of them for coming on, right? So one thing I noticed is that we human beings, like we tend to give attention to something that relates to us. Let me put it this way. Your native language is Spanish, right?
Spanish, yes.
If somebody should walk up to you, if a stranger should walk up to you and speak English, you might not be welcoming to that person if the person compared to when someone speaks Spanish, right?
Yes,
Because
and besides that, is the way to send the message and receive the message in your language, or in the language that probably is not your mother language, but is the language
yeah,
that you speak often,
yeah,
is different.
yes, yeah,
For example, I have a podcast in Spanish, and when I do Spanish, it's totally different because it's my mother language. The
yes,
communication is different, so
yes,
that's what I can
yeah.
say.
Yeah. So we've seen traction that people actually wants to take information in local languages. So aside from doing spaces, another thing we do is to also start a vlog. And what we do with the vlog is to go to random locations, right, in random city, specific strategic locations in random cities, and ask random people questions about Bitcoin in Pidgin, right? And the reason why we are doing this is to also put some fun parts to it, right? Because at the end of the day, uh, Pidgin is actually fun to speak if you know how to speak it, because it cuts out a whole lot of jargons that you're going to speak if you are doing it in English and you just go straight to the point, right? Um, every Bitcoiner that we add space with, at the end of the space, they do, when we are discussing about the space and the feedback, like they always have this euphoric feeling, speaking language that you are familiar with, and talking about Bitcoin that you're also passionate with. So it's been a good feeling, and the feedback from our audience has increased a whole lot compared to when I was just doing it alone, right? So we have a lot of data that confirms that we are actually doing the right thing. And when you see something like that, all you think about is getting to work.
Yes, and how big is the community, the community in Bitcoin?
Okay, so as far as the Pidgin speaking community in Bitcoin, like I'll relate that to the general Nigerian community in general, because everybody speaks Pidgin. And even at Mauritius, I also interviewed some top Bitcoiners, right? Uh, in Pidgin too, the likes of Femi Longe, the likes of Abubakar of Bitrust, the likes of Obiunwosu of Fedi, you know. So I would say the Bitcoin community, right, in Nigeria in general is a positive one. And why I would say it's a positive one is because there are people building for the problems on ground. At the end of the day, it's not about talking about a problem, right? It's actually about doing something about it. So we can see people building products to help remittance issues that we have, right? Now, a Nigerian can send money to South Africa without stress, right? With spending, we have Mava Pay. a Nigerian can send money to Ghana, to Kenya, to South Africa without any stress. We have Beach Rust that is training developers. We have BitNob. BitNob is a Bitcoin exchange where you off ramp and on ramp Bitcoin, and they also have an infrastructure, right? We also have Sancos, where you can use crypto to buy, to pay for your utility, basically pay for your utility and buy airtime. So it has been a positive one so far, because people are actually doing something about the problem that we have on ground, and it's a good eye to see. But at the end of the day, right, we are just getting started, right? And Bitcoin has a whole lot to do in Nigeria, and people are making sure that it's being done in the right way.
What are the biggest projects that are now being run in Nigeria?
Okay, Bitnob is one of the biggest. I would say Bitnob because Bitnob has onboarded a whole lot of people, because I use them a lot to whenever I want to buy Bitcoin, right? We also have MavaPay. I don't know. Do you know about Tando? Okay, Tando is a non-KYC Bitcoin platform in Kenya that helps you. It allows you to spend Bitcoin, right, without touching the Kenyan shilling. So last year at the African Bitcoin Conference in Kenya, I went to Kenya and I used Tando. I did not have to touch the Kenyan shilling. I spent SAT, but the person on the other end is getting Kenyan shilling, right? So that helped my stay in Kenya very easy. So MavaPay is a Tando-like app, but in Nigeria, right? You don't have to touch Naira. As far as you have SAT, you can pay anybody, for any service, right? We also have Beach Rust. I believe Beach Rust is doing a wonderful thing in Nigeria as far as training developers, right? Training developers to contribute to the Bitcoin open source, and that clicks because at the end of the day, um, we need to have builders that are on ground, to build for the solution, to build for the problem they see, they experience themselves. And kudos to Trust. So there are a whole lot of big products. If I keep mentioning them, we might not live here. We have Sancos. With Sancos, you can buy, you can pay for airtime. You can pay for your electricity, pay for your water, right? Without touching the Naira, doing it with crypto, right? We have TapNob. TapNob, you can buy and sell Bitcoin, non-KYC. We have Sat Nomad, right? Sat Nomad is where you check the data on Sat. We have Citrus Rate. Like, there are a whole lot of products now in Nigeria. So that was why I said that it is a positive thing to see, because people are actually building for the problems that are on ground.
Yes, I know that the Nigerian community is super big. I spoke with some guys from Nigeria in the past. Also in Africa, you have a big community in Kenya, in South Africa, but Nigeria is one of the biggest communities in Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
And how
believe
and how has yes
I believe that
yes
also
continue.
has to do. I believe that also has to do with the numbers, right? We are over 220 million people, and the over 70% of that number are youths. So the energy is there, and the economic is not favorable to anyone, right? You have to make sure that you work your ass to get a better life for yourself and your family. So it's a good thing to see that people are actually building Bitcoin solutions to our problem, and not the scam projects we see on the other side?
Yeah, usually something that I see when I talk with people, also in Latin America, because Africa and Latin America, they have these connections of
Yeah.
we need to work hard, and
Right.
people that don't have money, and they come all these scammers that with the shit coins promising huge profits and then get scammed. There are many scams in Nigeria going on, and how the community is fighting against them.
Okay, the thing is about that, I believe that to answer your question, I will have to step on a whole lot of toes, right? And actually, saying the truth doesn't hurt anyone except maybe you're a liar, right? Um, the thing about Nigeria is that the fact that the economy is bad and nothing is going on as far as from the other end, right? People have high time preference. They want to get the benefit of their work right now, because at the end of the day, I need to eat. I need to put food in my mouth, right? So it's made people to one of the scams in Nigeria is Ponzi schemes. I don't know why nobody has gone to jail from scamming Nigerians from Ponzi schemes, right? But at the end of the day, you will see that nobody was forced. You are the one that actually opened an account on the Ponzi scheme. You registered, you sent money, right? So nobody was forced to do it. And I believe that it's because of the high time preference that made that to be. So for me, I believe the best way to solve that is to start calling people out. I believe that's the best way to do it. If you know someone that has a scam token that is going to rug, call the person out, right? When you call the person out, everybody will say something about it. But yeah. So far in terms of fighting it, the community is doing as much as they can. But at the end of the day, it's still people that will still open an account on these platforms and still send money. So at the end of the day, it all goes down to doing your own research, right? Because there's this Ponzi scheme that crashed of recent in Nigeria. It's called CBEX, right? A whole lot of people lost a whole lot of money. And the funniest thing is that somebody actually reached out to me to ask about the project. I told the person it's a Ponzi scheme and it's a scam, that he shouldn't do it, right? And this person, I've been telling this person about Bitcoin now for over 3 years, that I've been telling this particular person about Bitcoin. So when the person brought the Ponzi scheme, I'm like, this is a Ponzi scheme. You will lose your money. Don't do it. After telling him not to do it, I went about with my own life. Then when it crashed, his younger brother told me that his elder brother, which is this person I'm talking about, lost $120. And I'm like, I've been telling you about Bitcoin for more than 3 years. You've not done anything about it, but this is you putting $120 into something I told you is a Ponzi scheme, you know? So I
Yes, I
can't
think
just
that
go ahead.
yes, I can get you, because I can get your point, because we can do a lot of things. We can educate, we can do a lot of content, but at the end of the day, it's all
Yeah.
down to the people if they
Yes.
want to put their money or not.
Yes.
And we need to understand the low the time preference for the people, because I think that in Nigeria, same as in Argentina, are countries that are attacked by high inflation. People live paycheck by paycheck, and you cannot say, "Oh, okay, you invest this and you wait for 5 years, or you put this and you don't sell." People needs to eat,
Yes.
so I think that the education, uh, because I am between the two worlds. I know the situation here in Hong Kong, but I when I went to Argentina and meet the Bitcoin community, the situation is totally different. So when you speak in Argentina or Latin America, you need to talk different amounts. You need to talk like, okay, put this amount, amount, but it's all down to educate and all to the people to understand and listen and not fall in Ponzi schemes. I think that Ponzi schemes will exist forever because it's super old and people keep falling. But I don't know how to fight against them.
Yeah, I wish I have the answer to that. I wish I do. But because at the end of the day, even if you force the horse to the stream, you won't force the the stream into the horse's mouth, right? And every Bitcoiner that I've met, everyone took out time to understand Bitcoin, right? I can't imagine how many hours you put into understanding Bitcoin to the extent that you are now. That is a whole lot of work, right? So I believe that at the end of the day, everybody needs to do their own research. Like, do your research and come with questions. You know, that's how it will be clear for you. So there's also another event that happened, we organized an event in Anambra State that was Bitcoin Pizza Day on the 22nd of May this year. And we shared 1,000 sats to everybody that attended the event, and we told them to spend, if they want to spend the sats, they should spend it with our merchants that accepts Bitcoin. And when we were giving them the 1,000 sats, it was nothing, to them, and I told them that if they can hold on to this 1,000 sats for 5 years, if you see the way they cringe, like 5 years, who has the time to wait for 5 years? I don't know if you get, but
Yes.
miracle doesn't happen over here. It's proof of work, right? So you have to wait. Every Bitcoiner, right? The whales that we have today are those that just waited. I don't know if you get. So
Yes, of course.
believe that is it.
Yes.
But we still cannot remove the importance of education at the end of the day. It still all comes down to
Yeah, at the end
education.
of the day, the education is crucial. And how has Geyser helped you to do these projects and to help people and to educate people in your community?
Yeah, Geyser has actually helped us a lot. And why I say this is because when I started Bitcoin Pidgin, both projects actually, but Bitcoin Pidgin in particular, when I started Bitcoin Pidgin, um, there was no budget. Like, there was no budget from anywhere. It was just a passion that I have, to do this. But I came to know about Geyser, then I decided, like, why not? So I put it there, and I
Mm-hmm.
see that I started receiving few sats. I started receiving sats from people, even anonymous donations. So getting all those things was just like a confirmation that this is not a bad idea, right? These are people actually donating to this crazy idea that you have, right? So I believe Geyser helped us get off the ground by showing our projects to Bitcoiners around the world and donating to what we do. That was very massive because it helped us get off the ground and get started, compared to where we are now. So it's
Yes,
a
yes,
wonderful
understand.
project, and
And
I
talking
believe
about
I believe that everybody saw the importance, you know, everybody saw the importance of the project.
yes, Geyser has a lot of reach among the community. So and it also helps you to be noticed because there are many projects, many people talking about Bitcoin, and sometimes the people who, the biggest Bitcoiners, the biggest whales that help these projects, they don't get noticed. But with
Yeah.
Geyser, they put you on the radar of the big Bitcoin whales. And talking about Anambra, how many shops or merchants are onboarded on the project?
So we have 5 merchants now that accept Bitcoin fully that we've onboarded. One of them has a Bitcoin POS from that we received that was donated to us from Bitcoinized POS. So we have 5 merchants. 4 of them are stable, but one of them is not stable yet, but they accept Bitcoin. Right. So and why we have such a low number is because at the end of the day, it's not about having thousands of merchants and nobody spending sats with them, right? So we have to consolidate because at the end of the day, it's having those people that we need every day for our daily to get things that we need for our daily life, right? So and these are the people. One of our merchants is a has an eatery, trenches by Burger Chicken. They accept Bitcoin. If you go there, you can eat their delicious food and pay with them, pay in Bitcoin, right? If you're in Anambra State, you don't have to touch Naira, right? You can live on the Bitcoin standard in Anambra State. We also have one merchant that sells perfumes and deodorants, right? And also does manicure and pedicure. So I love smelling nice, right? So we arranged period out to start accepting Bitcoin as payment, and now she accepts Bitcoin as payment. And when we see the growth and the frequency of of how she accepts Bitcoin, then we can also give her a Bitcoin POS so that they can have an hardware that anyone can pay anytime when they walk into their store. All right. We have another one which is also an eatery, right? Nelly's Blend. They sell food and they sell natural juice, your popsicles, right? And our targets moving forward is in Onitsha main market, because another fact about Anambra State is that we have the biggest open market in Africa by land size, by goods sold, and by merchant presence. And the name of the market is Onitsha Main Market, right? Onitsha Main Market is the biggest open market in Africa, where we see people from neighboring countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, Ghana, Benin Republic, Cameroon come into this market to buy goods in large quantity, right? But this market is an informal setting. I don't know if you understand what I mean, right? And
Yes, yes.
yeah, our target next year and moving forward is to capture the markets. And when I say capture, what I mean is to do outdoor um outreach in this market, to educate them about Bitcoin and show them that the currency problem that they are having, that they face whenever a foreigner come into the market to purchase their goods, this is the solution to it. With Bitcoin, you don't care where the person is from. Your issue is the forex exchange, but with Bitcoin, you transact without even knowing the currency you have or whatever you want to do. And with the tools we have in Nigeria, with the products we have in Nigeria, a merchant can still even decide to accept Bitcoin, right, and still want to um receive the payment in Naira. That's also an option for merchants, right? But at the end of the day, is to already peeling them, and showing them the benefits of accepting Bitcoin as payment.
And how have these communities grow? Do you see any positive effect on them by adopting Bitcoin, by learning Bitcoin?
Yes, there has been a lot of positive feedback from the merchants, right? We received a message from adopting Bitcoin, I think El Salvador, that happened in November. They reached out to us that they will be creating a video to showcase secular economies in Africa, right? And we did a video where we also interviewed one of our merchants, and is the most stable merchant that we have. That is Trenches by Burger Chicken. And the feedback I have from the CEO of the eatery has been massive, right? Because he's also a lawyer, right? He's an esquire, and when he came to know about Bitcoin for one of our events, he got hooked, right? And now he receives Bitcoin as payments. Like, it does not even have to be there because they have Bitcoin POS, right? So it's a whole lot. Even I think that should be on Monday. On Monday, we received a message. One of our merchants sent a message into the community thanking us for already telling them about Bitcoin and what they've learned so far. Because what happens is that when we post the video about we of one of our community member patronizing the merchant and paying a Bitcoin, what tends to happen is that we will also include the Lightning username of the merchant. So what happens is that the merchants too receives SATs. They receive SAT donations too, right? And SAT is a very great motivator, right? So
Yes.
them receiving SAT from someone they don't know at all, you know, just someone that like the fact that they accept Bitcoin. So it has been a good review so far. Aside from educating the community, hosting events, Bitcoin Pizza Day, bringing people together to talk about Bitcoin. It has been a wonderful experience and feedback so far.
Do you know the guys from Bitcoin for Humanity?
Bitcoin for Humanity. You mean Gaku?
Gaku, yes. It's
Uh,
Argentinian. I've been with
yeah,
him in Argentina, and I will be having him on board on our podcast on Tuesday, but in Spanish.
yeah.
So if you
I
need
know,
me
I
to
know,
connect
I know
with them,
Gaku.
just
I know Gaku.
nice,
We
nice.
were we were together.
Because
We
they
were
were in
together in
Mauritius.
Mauritius. Yes, yes. We were together in
Yes,
Mauritius.
they were in Mauritius.
Yeah.
Nice. If you
He's a
need any
he's a
help
nice
from
guy.
them, just let me know because I can contact him with you guys, and if you need some help, I can connect with you. So you told me that you have to leave. So let me ask a few more questions. The first question is, how do you see what are your future plans for both projects?
Okay. Our future plan for Bitcoin Anambra is another thing we notice is that our people prefer to they still have doubts about the digital world. So when you are telling them about something, they want you to put a physical location to it, right? So we have more success with our offline meetups than our online classes, and that's evident because people actually want to be in a physical location. They want to trust you like that, right? So our future plan for Bitcoin Anambra is to have a physical space, right, where people can walk in to ask any question that they have about Bitcoin, and it will be in the heart of Anambra State that will have the physical location. And also another thing is also um, continuing our Bitcoin education. That is very, very important. We'll continue our Bitcoin education, and we'll also do our campus tour, right? We are doing a campus tour where we go to certain schools in Anambra State, selected higher institutions in Anambra State, to have a meeting of Bitcoin, and also interact with students, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that will understand it better than the older ones. And for Bitcoin Pidgin, expect more content, right? There's a whole lot of content from Mauritius, and trust me, you really, really want to stay glued, right? I will continue our vlog. We'll continue our vlog and expect some books in some Bitcoin books in Pidgin. We've already translated one, but I won't be able to say much because of it has not been published yet, and I don't want to give out any information that might go against the agreement that we had. So aside from that, we'll expect more Bitcoin books in Pidgin, right? And expect Bitcoin podcasts. So that's a few things you should expect from me.
Nice. Nice. And the last two questions, the first one is, how do you see the future of Bitcoin?
Wow. One thing I do ask people, right, that do they believe that the world is going into a digital age? They will say yes. And I'm like, okay, if you believe the world is going into a digital age, do you believe that that digital age needs a money? They will be like, yes. And I'll be like, Bitcoin is the money for the digital age. So, and what that means is that it's just the future of everything. It will get to a stage where people will be using Bitcoin. People are already using Bitcoin and they don't know that it's Bitcoin that they're using behind the scene, right? So the future of Bitcoin is very, very bright. In the money aspect is very bright. As if we should also go to the aspect of store of value, it's also very bright, right? Because it's the most scarce asset in the world. So I believe in the future of Bitcoin because I've gone down the rabbit hole and I've done my own research, and I have my conviction that this Bitcoin is just the truth, right? It's just the truth.
That's the point. Yes.
Yeah.
If you go to the rabbit hole, you do your own research and you study Bitcoin, you need to be super bullish as we are here. So,
Yeah.
and the last question, and I'm not talking about the price. I'm not talking about the price. And the last question, if you had the chance to meet Satoshi Nakamoto, what would you ask or say to him, her, or them? No, it got frozen on the last question. Kester, he got frozen in the last question. A pity. I don't know if he got disconnected from internet or whatever, but he got frozen. We are gonna be waiting a little bit more because he told me already that he had to be go to the airport. I think he lost his connection. Let's wait a little bit with my friend, with my bull, because again, we are super bullish on Bitcoin, not talking about the price. We are bullish with the Bitcoin revolution. We know that there is a huge revolution as a payment method, as a store of value, and as a tool of freedom. In these times where freedom is attacked worldwide, remember, in Australia, now the kids are banned from using social media. That is not bad, but the problem is with this is a good thing, but it comes with control. So we don't like control, we like freedom, and Bitcoin gives you freedom. So let's wait a little bit more. If he sent me a message on X, I think that he sent me he needs to go. So I will stop. I will wait a little bit more. And if he is not coming, a pity, because we missed the last question. That is the question that I wait the most, because I can understand what people could ask Satoshi. We had very, very, very nice questions to Satoshi. Let's see a little bit if he's coming back, if he's sending a message on X. Because again, he told me that he needs to leave. He has only 1 hour. Otherwise, and I had to contact him because his audio and video was not updated properly. So to process the video, I will need him to do a little trick. So I think that he's not coming back, because he told me he had to leave. He has a plane to catch. So anyways, I will be in contact with him. Probably I will ask him to film and send the last the short video with the last question that I do to everyone. So again, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. Let me read again the name. I want to thank you, Kester, for your time. I want to thank you for the things that you are doing for Bitcoin and for your community, to show to the world that there is hope. Bitcoin is hope for this community. So thank you, Kester, and thank you to everyone who is on the other side. If you like the episode, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. We don't want donations, we don't want money, but we want you to follow us, to give us a like, to comment our videos, because with these actions, you help us a lot in our task to paint orange the world. So share this episode with the people you love, share this episode with the people you hate, because we must reach 8 billion people and give them the orange pill. See you in the next episode of our podcast. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi. And that's all for today. If you like the episode, please give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media. Our X account is the Bitcoin _. Our YouTube channel is the Libertarian BTC. Our YouTube channel in Spanish is Libertarian BTC ESP. Our Patreon, the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our Instagram, the Bitcoin Libertarian. That's all. You can go there and follow us in all our social media.